Hello, friends. My name is Dave Miller.
And I'm Niall Spain, and we're your fuck buddies, and welcome to the podcast.
We are a dating and sex advice show where we take your sticky, sexy situations and turn them into sexy, sticky situations.
Basically, we answer questions on sex and dating that we either get off our lovely listeners or from Reddit.
Have you ever had a thing where, like, say you've been like having, for example, neck pain? My neck has been hurting for a week or two ago,
Okay.
and then it got better, and then I was like, it's nice that my neck doesn't hurt anymore, and then within a few hours, it's like, hey, fuck you. Does that ever happen to you?
Sure. Yeah, I guess.
But it seems, I mean, like, when you, like, sort of, like, be like, oh, thank God this isn't happening anymore. And then it's like, I'm back.
Maybe it's one of those phantom pains where you're just making it happen.
I think it is. I think I, like, manifest, instead of, manifesting money and positive vibes, I manifest body injuries.
That's terrible, really.
It's the worst superpower.
Yeah. How would that superpower ever help you? Because, like, you can't ever prove pain or whatever, really. So it's like, it's not even like as a kid, you could be like, oh, I'm in so much pain, I gotta go home. They'd be like, okay. Like, you'd be as good as the kid that's just lying.
Yeah.
I know.
I mean, I guess you're living truth, right? Like,
you'd just
like
be
method
slightly
acting.
better at lying. Oh, yeah, you could be a really good actor. It's like you get shot in a movie and you're like, oh, God! And everyone's like, wow, okay, can you tone it down?
Hey, man, that's not believable.
Are we gonna just throw it right in there?
Yeah, let's get right in there.
This is by Throare Rakoko. My, male 21, girlfriend, 23, obsession with Pokemon is embarrassing me. So my girlfriend loves Pokemon. Sometimes when we go out, she will ask me if it's alright if she checks for some Pokestops on Pokemon Go. When someone we know talks about Pokemon, my girlfriend gets really excited and wants to be friends on Pokemon Go right away. She also has many Pokemon plushies, all of them in our shared bedroom. At first it was cute, but my friends are starting to make fun of me for dating a child. My girlfriend's very mature and an amazing partner, but when I brought up how her obsession with Pokemon is embarrassing for her age, she felt insulted and told me her liking and playing Pokemon is no different than me playing LOL and Minecraft. Still, my buddies are making fun of us and I'm afraid she will get hurt once she hears them. What to do? How to convince her she should maybe tone it down a little. My friends are visiting us and I'm sure they will make fun of her once they see her plushies.
So I'm on the fence on this one, because one, if this is something she likes, then yeah, it literally is no different than you playing Minecraft or fucking League of Legends or literally anything. You know what I mean? Like, any sort of pastime is a pastime, and anything you're passionate about, you're passionate about. Like, if you had a record collection,
yeah,
or you were, super into like a band, most people, like if you were super into Nickelback.
Well, that's different. That's different.
Like, who gives a fuck? It's nice that she's sort of unabashedly her. The plushies I can understand because it is a shared space, and depending on how many she has, it might be a bit overwhelming in terms of like the feng shui of the room.
Yeah. Well, we've had a question kind of similar, you know what I mean, where it's like we had someone whose bed was entirely taken over by teddies. And you're right. Like if it's one or two or whatever, that's fine. If there's a lot of them, then maybe you can come up with some sort of system if that's your issue. But that's not what you're talking about here, really. It's just an aside. Well, I'll let you finish, and then I will.
Yeah, you're putting a value judgment on what she's cool with. Mm-hmm. Like if this was something deemed, a little more mature, like if she was, super into fucking, I don't know, I can't think of something. I was going to say like Call of Duty and therefore like had a bunch of like collectible guns and stuff. Mm-hmm. That's also, it's unsettling.
But yeah, you're right. Like he wouldn't be embarrassed. You know what I mean? It's because it's a cartoon, right?
Yeah. And like, demographically is targeted towards kids.
Or it used to be. I don't know. At this point, it's like pretty much everyone I know either still plays or has played Pokemon Go.
Yeah, because like the thing is like it's something from our generation's childhood.
Yeah.
So it makes sense that we've continued to play it. Like I haven't played a Pokemon game other than Pokemon Go in fucking decades, but it's still like if I had access to it, it's just because I've never bought a Nintendo console in ages.
Yeah, and you probably went and saw fucking Detective Pikachu.
Hell yeah.
Didn't we go together actually?
We probably did.
Yeah, it's pretty good. Yeah, I think your friends suck. Not you, but the question asker. It sounds like you wouldn't be upset about this if it wasn't for your friends. So in this case, what's the fucking issue? Your friends. You know what I mean? Like you clearly didn't have an issue with it until you start getting like embarrassment is kind of like it's all related to other people. You don't just get embarrassed in a vacuum. You know, like you're worried about your friends coming over, you're worried about this. Seems to
Yeah.
me like they're the shitty people in this situation. You know, it's like it's awesome that she's passionate about stuff. Like they passionate people are the best people once it's not a passion for murder or like, you know, pedophilia. Um so it's great that she's into stuff because I tell you, if this relationship blows up, next person you find will probably just be like, I like Netflix and seeing my friends. And
Yeah.
pop
Oh,
music.
I like hanging out and like anything but country.
Yeah, oh man. Anything but country is like the new I like music. And they don't even like music, ironically. It's I
Um,
listen to Taylor Swift,
yeah,
which
I listen
ironically
to.
she is or was, I guess, a country artist.
Um, yeah, I think you've made a very good point in the fact that like it's this guy's worried about his friends, and like he says she's an amazing person. He says she's a great partner. He says she's mature. Like I would understand if she still, manifested herself as, or held herself as immature. Like
Yeah,
if she
like
still acted like a kid.
if she wanted to be the very best, you know, like no one ever was, and like her like true test was to catch them and to train them was her cause. You know what I mean? Like if
Yeah,
those were, you know, like she's out traveling across the land searching far and wide. Well, I guess she kind of is, you
she
know,
really is.
with
I
the
mean, to be
Pokestops.
fair, it does sound like she is
Hmm.
straight up trying to be a Pokemon master, which
Yeah.
doesn't mean you're immature.
No, I just really want to speak out the words of the song. Yeah, no, I see no issue with this. If it's something like you mentioned earlier, where it's like a little too many plushies, that's a manageable issue. It's like, hey, you have too many of this one thing in this one space or whatever. But that's not. I'm embarrassed by the fact that you're passionate about this thing, and like,
Yeah.
arguably, Pokemon is more mature than fucking Minecraft. So,
Yeah, I mean, I know more. Well, I don't know if that's true. I was gonna say I know more kids who play Minecraft, or like more, more adults that
mhm.
play Pokemon than they do Minecraft. Um,
Like Minecraft's great too. Like, don't get me wrong, I love them both.
the thing is like there really isn't an age limit on most entertainment. You know what I mean? It's like it would be weird if you were sitting down watching like, a very like Dora the Explorer as a 30-year-old man, because like
Mhm.
that is very tailored to an intelligence level of like children.
Yeah,
Whereas like Pokemon, there's fucking equations and shit on how to figure out how to get the strongest Pokemon and stuff. Like that is not meant for kids.
hmm
You know what I mean? Like there is adult sides to all this entertainment. The same thing with like Minecraft. Like I've seen people build crazy shit in Minecraft, and that is so. I What you're saying is correct. I think this is a time for you to stand up for your girlfriend, and be like, if someone makes fun of her, you could be like, what's your problem? Like, yeah, she's into Pokemon. That's cool. Like, you probably have something that you're into. Like, fuck off.
yeah. Especially when they're also into Minecraft with you. And again, Minecraft's great, but it's like if she turned around and started mocking your friends, and you're like, you guys are kids, you play fucking Minecraft. That wouldn't be cool. So for them to
Yeah,
turn around and do the same to your girlfriend is not cool. Get the fuck rid of your friends. Have a chat with them. Like, be if you're never defending it, maybe they think it's like a joke between you guys, or at the very least, they just think it's okay to say. If you
here's the
tell
thing.
them it's not okay,
There's a very good chance that they don't give a fuck that she likes Pokemon. They're saying it because it riles you up.
or they don't like her, and that's
Yeah,
kind of like their way to get it across.
maybe. But like, how many times have we fucking, ribbed each other about stupid bullshit? Where it's like
Yeah, but
we're
we
doing it to make.
also wouldn't do it in a way like this. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think
Yeah,
either of us would actually get upset. And I think we'd both be pretty careful not to upset the other person. Like, not that it would be easy to do, but just because we are good friends, you know? Because there's
yeah, that's
definitely a
true.
difference between like messing with someone and saying something that could actually potentially hurt somebody. And, you know, I think like trying to find that line, you might be right. Like, maybe it is like genuinely like good hearted on one side and they don't know. But again, it's like you got to talk to them.
Yeah,
And
and also
if
like, if you love this person and you really don't give a fuck that they're playing Pokemon, like, and which you shouldn't,
Hmm.
fucking stand up for them. Like, that is the point. Like, if anyone ever said mean shit about Amanda, the same way if anyone said mean shit about any of my friends or anyone that I care
Yeah.
about, I'm gonna like
I'd
tell
be
them to
like,
knock
the
it
fuck's
off
wrong
or
with you?
set them straight.
Yeah.
Or at least let them know that I'm not going to tolerate that kind of fucking bullshit in my presence. It's like,
Yeah.
you can't stop people from thinking what they think or saying what they say, but like, I can definitely be like, hey, you're not saying that bullshit around me, or we're done.
Yeah. 100%. All right, hit me.
This kind of actually ties in quite nicely. Men of Reddit, how do you prefer your significant other to bring up difficult issues in the relationship to you? What does good communication look like to you?
Well, first, you got to send them a text. So you have to be not make sure you're not home, and you got to send that text, and the text just needs to say, "We need to talk." Full
Oh
stop.
yeah, absolutely.
But you also have to do it at a time where you can't talk for at least another day, like 24 hours minimum.
Yeah, you need to say that and then literally throw your phone as far as you can into like
Into
a
like
field,
acid.
like a wheat field, acid, a lake,
Hmm.
like anything like that that will prevent you from responding to
Like
any other
just a
text.
lot of already chewed up chewing gum, so it'll gum up the whole place, and you just can't really, and the a great time to do this is the start of like a trip. Like if you're going on a trip and they're staying at home and you're gonna be gone for like 7 weeks, uh,
Yeah.
day one. Actually,
Or
just when you
like
get on the airplane, and then don't
before
don't
like a
even take
big
your phone.
interview.
Yes, but they have an interview or their parents' funeral.
Yeah, or like the beginning of a shift, like right before they're about to start a
Mhm.
long shift at work. Hit them with that.
Even better if it's like the Christmas season because they're busy and now they're worried about getting you presents too.
Yeah.
No, don't do any of those things. I feel like it's such a like general
Now,
question that I don't know
yeah,
where to start.
I think I'll throw some things out and maybe you can
Sure.
bounce off that. So a big thing for me is I think there's a time and a place. Well, I think talking about things as they come up is super super important. I also think there's a time and a place to do that.
True.
Um, I absolutely like if there's ever any tension between me and my partner, I don't want to have that discussion in the back of an Uber.
No,
You know
God
what I
no.
mean?
Because one,
Or
that
at the same.
sucks for the Uber driver or
That's
the
the thing. Is
third
like,
person. If you're getting an Uber pool,
yeah,
ugh.
like my big thing is like I'm a fairly empathetic person, and like I've worked as a bartender for most of my adult life, and the amount of people that have had like their whisper fights at my bar, it's so uncomfortable. It sucks because I'm like, your pints are empty, but like I'm pretty sure you're breaking up right now, so I don't know if I should be doing my job or if I just sort of like let your lives unravel
Yeah, and
next to me.
inevitably, like no one who's just got dumped is like, "Oh, here's a nice tip," or
Here's
like the
20%.
guy who just like then you're just taking out your misery on somebody else who's just trying to fucking work. It's Christmas season.
So that's my thing. Is like, and I know a lot of people don't like that. Like a lot of people want to like if they know there's a problem, want to get right into it, and I fucking hate it. It's like this can wait 10 minutes while we're in a public space or like with my friend. You know what I mean? It's like I want to have this conversation, and I don't want to have that awkward like nagging feeling of like making things uncomfortable for people or you know just being all over like ruining something for everyone else if it doesn't need to happen.
Yeah, like definitely like having a bit of consideration for other people. Also, it's like once you start a conversation like that, your partner kind of has to engage because like to not do so seems really whatever. So like now you're trapping them in an awkward position as well. So it's
Yeah.
like if they're in that Uber driver, if they're at that restaurant, they can't just be like, "Hey, let's not talk about this once you start." Really, because if it's important, then they're probably going to get in more trouble for that. Meanwhile, they then have to be complicit. You know.
Yeah.
So I get that. Yeah, time and place is definitely a thing. Maybe don't do it right before bed or an interview or they have to go to work because if you guys don't finish your chat, that might be shitty.
Yeah.
And I think like one of the most important things is to like not make it a fight, you know, because I,
Yes.
I feel like we've given out this advice before, and it's all too easy to like, you know, say things the wrong way or like rile people up, and it's all too easy for people to kind of like respond defensively, kind of off the bat. So like to always try and like come into it knowing that there's a possibility for that and try to keep things on the productive and like kind side than actually getting all pissy. You know.
Yeah, I mean, like I fall into the pit trap of I have been in relationships in the past where uh, I kind of like I hadn't really found my voice yet, so I
Hmm.
kind of like just took
Like
the
Ariel.
abuse. Uh, yes, I did. There was a period of my life where I did trade my voice to an evil sea witch
Hmm.
for just an extra set of legs. I had four legs for a
Hmm.
while.
Yeah. You might notice there was like an audio kind of differential when we started the podcast. That was mainly just Dane's extra legs getting in the way.
um, but yeah, like I would just sort of like take the abuse, and now I'm very much against that. So if any at any point in time, if I'm having a argument with someone and it starts becoming manipulative, I can sense that like immediately, and I put a stop to it immediately. And I think, and I know I get very aggressive about it, and I know that puts a lot of people on the defensive. And it's one of those things where like I try to like really give myself a count of three to be like, okay, I hear you, but here's what's happening. This is what I'm feeling. This is how I feel you're approaching it. And I'm not going to continue this conversation if that's how it's going to go.
Hmm. That's fair.
Um, Otherwise, I get impulsive, and that's never a good thing for a serious relationship chat.
Hmm.
I think also don't do it when you're drunk or when one person is drunk.
Yeah, because like that's just unfair. If one person's drunk and the other person isn't, then it's like one, you almost have like that carte blanche of like the next day, like, oh, I was drunk. That's not fair on the person
Exactly.
you're talking to because like arguably you're not gonna be like, sorry, I was really kind, I was drunk. It's usually the opposite. On top of that, it's like if someone doesn't remember, it's just never gonna
Yeah.
go well, and you're not at your full capacity in terms of
Um,
like emotions and logic and everything. So the potential for it just going so badly is very much there. Do
yeah. The amount
yourself,
of times I've had to have like a fight twice.
and that's just worse. Yeah, like
Yeah.
fights in general suck. Having them twice is just ridiculous. And other than that, it's like if you want to make a point, I guess like know your point. Like if you want to bring something up, but then like you start this conversation, and then once it kind of moves to like how do we move forward, and you don't have any idea, you know what I mean? Like, not that that's unacceptable because like sometimes conversations like you need two people, and like sometimes fixes aren't easy. All that, totally get it. But if you start a big thing and then have like nothing to contribute, that's not great.
Yeah. I think you need to get out of the mindset of like, another thing I learned is don't have like this big rehearsed speech because one, it's not going to work.
Hmm.
Two, don't have an expected answer.
Yeah, yeah. So like when I say like it almost sounds like I'm saying prepare. I'm definitely not saying any of those things. You should know what you want, but
Yes.
like
Yeah, don't come in just being like,
here's
I'm
an
really
issue, and
upset.
then just check yourself out because you brought it up, so now it's not your problem. you
Yeah.
know but yeah, definitely, like, if you try and script write at any point, it's probably not going to go well for anyone involved either.
Uh-huh. So we've done a lot of like don'ts. I think the most important thing is, and here, like one of the things I struggled with is it's scary a lot of times.
Mhm.
It is scary to bring up things. And so I don't, a lot of people are like, well, I didn't talk about it, the couple days after it happened. And now I feel like it's too late. It's not too late.
Yeah,
If it's something that is actually bothering you, it's worth talking about because that person might just gloss over it because it didn't really affect them. But like that's going to be something that's going to stew in you and like just get all fucking tangled up and bad.
yeah, that's like very similar to what I was going to say, which is that maybe don't jump into it immediately, but also don't leave it too long either, because like as you're saying, like you might feel that it's been too long or whatever, but I feel like if something is an actual issue, the longer you have it inside of you, the more it's going to come out in like just you being like a little distant or cold or petty, or they will sense it if you're feeling something and not saying it, and like that is just kind of like the road to like a shitty relationship if you're
Hmm.
Like if you have it bottled up, because it's almost impossible not to act on it in some way, and like they're gonna know something's up. I've been in relationships where that's happened and it sucks. So like don't leave it till like 3 weeks later and like have that as like a little chip on your shoulder for 3 weeks.
Yeah, and if you guys don't live together or whatever, like I don't think if it's something that you're really having a hard time sort of like mustering up the courage to say,
Mm-hmm.
I don't necessarily think a text or whatever is a bad idea. Like if that's the only way you think you can get it out, then do it. But
Yeah.
make sure that you're ready to have that conversation. Like don't like I know we joked about it, but like don't hit them with the fucking we need to talk.
Yeah. Also, maybe just be sure when again, like I agree. I don't really think there's any issue with text or phone call. You know what I mean? Like you're not dumping them, presumably. I think obviously on the serious scale, like the further you go towards dumping somebody, yeah, the more you should do it in person. But uh, make sure you know where they are, kind of when you're texting them, because like if they're out with
Yes.
their friends and all of a sudden you're dropping like 18 pages of messages on them, that sucks because either they ruin their night and their friends feel awkward and like everything sucks, or they don't and then you feel like a piece of shit because they're not responding to you.
Yeah. Yeah,
So
you need to make sure however you do it that like they're available to talk.
yeah, and it's like it's a very simple thing to just kind of like give a shit about their perspective as well, and I think that in general is the most important thing. It's like you have your perspective, but they have theirs, so you should definitely try and be empathetic, like before, during, and after these conversations, and don't only think about things from your perspective, and like at some point try and like put yourself in their shoes, and be like, oh, okay, and like listen to what they're saying, and don't be afraid to, if things are heating up, like take a break. You know what I mean? Like be like, look, I'm getting upset, you're getting upset, or whatever, and just be like, look, I'm gonna go for a short walk, I'm gonna come back, because that having a break and recollecting your thoughts is gonna be better than you guys just like blowing up at each other.
Yeah, because what happens then is like you start spiraling so far away from what you're actually upset about,
Mm-hmm.
and now you're like fighting about how often the kitchen gets cleaned, as
Yeah,
opposed
you're
to
fighting about fighting instead of
yeah,
talking about the stray you just took in, who's eaten
exactly.
all your beans.
Well, that's unacceptable.
No, no. Then they become beans.
All right, hit me.
This is by Seashell 1975. My 19-year-old female boyfriend, 22-year-old male, will do anything to avoid being a simp. My boyfriend and I have been together for 7 months, and it's been great. I joined his friend group and befriended the other two girlfriends in the group, one who is dating T. T is a lovely guy. For example, if his girlfriend asks for a glass of water, he'll say, sure thing, and get one for her. My boyfriend and his friends make fun of T constantly for being a simp. They insist that doing anything nice for your girlfriend or admitting any love at all for her means you're a simp. It's getting to the point where my boyfriend will not hold my hand while on a walk because he doesn't want to be a simp. He's affectionate at home or when he's just with me, and I know he loves me, but if I ask him to do a face mask with me, he'd decline without giving it a shot because that's being a simp. What is going on? When did showing any affection or being nice to your girlfriend become being a simp? How can I get him to stop thinking being a simp is a bad thing?
Can you remind me what a simp means?
So, a simp is, right? Oh, sucker who idolizes mediocre pussy.
Yeah, cool. So like that definition, whether she knows it or not, should be all you need to hear from your boyfriend. Because if he's worried that holding your hand makes him a simp, that implies that you are, quote unquote, mediocre pussy.
Yeah. Like, you should be like, hey, let's sit down and look at this definition for a second. And then you look at him, and if he says, oh shit, sure. But if he says what, you say, really? I'm mediocre pussy? And then if he answers anything but fuck no, dump his ass, because your pussy is not mediocre.
Yeah, like it's the wildest thing. Like I would understand if this, I mean, like I get the fucking guys who are trying to do it to like single dudes who are trying to boost their ego because they're not getting laid,
Mm-hmm.
and they're like, oh well, I'm just not looking for mediocre pussy, blah blah blah. It's like, cool, I understand the fucking psychology behind that, but to be in a relationship
It,
and declare yourself not a simp because you're not going to do things like, oh, if I do something for my girlfriend, I'm a simp.
yeah,
Then
very basic
one,
shit, too.
like I said, it's like one, you're calling her a mediocre pussy, and two, you've apparently already settled for mediocre pussy. Like, if you're looking at it from like through that lens, through like the male lens, it's like you are one if she is quote unquote, again, I hate the fucking term, mediocre pussy. Like,
Yeah,
you know what I mean? It's like when guys go on Tinder and they're like, hey, you want to fuck? No. Well, you're ugly anyway.
yeah. It's like, no,
Like,
they weren't, because you wanted to fuck them, you idiot.
what are you talking about? It's like, okay, cool. Like, obviously, like, I don't like the mental math there.
It does not work out whatsoever. Because it's
No.
like, if what you're worried about is possible, you've already failed, and if it isn't, then what are you doing? Also, it's just a fucking. So I think the term itself was like coined for people who would like, spend a lot of money online for like cam models and stuff. So it's like you were a simp if you just would like, the second they would like post up on Twitter being like, oh, I wish I had a new fridge, and you just buy them a new fridge like instantly, because it was like you doing all these like very kind of like damaging things that like don't really take your own financial or like life situation into account, all for people who you're never going to encounter in real life and nothing's ever going to happen. You know what I mean? So it's like, I think that is how it got coined. And it does sound like that's now become like, when we were kids, I'm sure you heard whipped,
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, if you were 15 and your girlfriend's like, hey, do this, they're like, oh, you're whipped. But one, if they're actually your friends, they didn't mean it, unless you were. No. And two, it's like, one, you should grow out of that by the time you're 21. And secondly, it's like, if you're in a relationship, you're in a relationship. You can't just be like, hey, I'm not going to do nice things because I'm worried about my friends, because that makes you a shitty partner and an idiot.
And it's not even like nice things. Like,
Well, like,
you're like, hey, I'm not gonna hold your hand. Like,
mhm,
that's not doing someone a favor. You're not like providing a service to your girlfriend for holding her hand.
mhm. Well, I meant like also just nice in terms of like, it's nice to hold your girlfriend's hand. Fucking do it, you weirdo.
Yeah, I mean, this whole thing, like I said, I think what you said is the way to go about it. Be like, hey, can you define a simp for me? Just break it down for me. And when he does, he either doesn't know what it actually means and is just saying it.
Yeah,
You know what I
because
mean?
it's
It's like
trendy.
when you're kids and like there's that one guy who keeps saying something, you know what I mean? Usually a racial slur, or you know what I mean, a homophobic slur or something, and he keeps calling everyone that because he heard it either from like his parents or on a TV show or something. And then he has to
So
like have that sat down and be like, "Hey, do you know what that means?"
when I was a kid, one of the slightly older kids in our like neighborhood was like one day like kind of strode into, like, we were like fucking young, like cycling around our little neighborhood, and he was like, "Oh, I found out what a pyramid is," and we were like, "What?" He was like, "Yeah, it's a thing that happens to girls," and like he never really like described it because he liked having the knowledge and we wouldn't get it because we were younger and blah blah blah. And everyone was like, "Oh shit!" Turns out he meant period. Uh, so he also didn't really know what they were, but he heard someone talking about pyramids, as he thought. So yeah, that's probably what this guy's doing. And if not, hey, you get to just turn to him and get a very swift answer to this problem, I imagine, by how he answers the question of you saying, "Am I mediocre pussy?"
Yeah,
Because there are
because
very few ways to answer that, and most of them are very bad.
like if he's like, "No, no, please," and it's like, well, then cool, then nothing you can do with me
Yeah,
makes you a simp.
yeah. So boom.
Alternatively, or you know what I mean, it's like he's like, well, yeah, if I'm doing, it's like cool, then I'm out.
Yeah. Also,
Because if
like,
you think this is mediocre, then you don't want it anymore.
mhm.
And just fucking, Irish jig out of there.
Yeah, and even if he's like, no, you're great, but like, there is no but. It's like, if you're in a relationship, you're in a relationship. It's like, if you don't want to put a face mask on for some reason, that's fine. You're not forced to be whatever. But like, grow up and actually tell her why you don't want to do that. You know what I mean? Instead of hiding behind this bullshit term that like kind of your get out of jail card. If you're just worried it's too feminine, then you kind of suck. But also, like, at least say that. You know what I mean? Don't, or whatever reason you don't want to do a face mask. If it's just you don't want to spend quality time with your partner, let her know that, because needs to make the decision to get the fuck out of there.
Yeah, I mean, like, I'm already gonna wager that, like, this guy's a toxic bullshit piece
Yeah,
of shit. That, like,
sounds
you need to
terrible.
just sort of, like, put him in a catapult, launch him into the fucking lake.
Imagine like being like, my friend got his girlfriend a glass of water. What an idiot!
Yeah.
Like, Oh,
I gotta do
fucking
that.
fool.
Next time we can actually hang out or see each other. Like next time, we go over to your place for dinner.
Hmm.
If at any point in time you get like your girlfriend a drink, I'm gonna fucking roast you so
No,
hard.
please. I don't want to be a simp.
But like the thing is, I can't even joke about that because I would look like such an idiot. You know what I mean? Like, there's no one in that room who's gonna be like, "Oh, damn, he got you, Niall."
No.
Everyone's gonna be like, "The fuck is wrong with you, Dane?"
It's going to
Like,
be so bad that people probably won't even get annoyed at it because it won't make sense. So they'll just think you're missing. They'll just be confused. No one's going to be like,
yeah,
you're being an asshole. But no one also will be like, oh, you're being funny. They'll be like, huh?
yeah, yeah. Like, I don't think there's any possible way to do that. It like even if I tried my fucking hardest, I think people would still think I was joking because of just how fucking absurd it is.
Hmm. All right, hit me.
This comes from Reddit user Unicorn Hunter. My 23-year-old female boyfriend, 33-year-old male, assumes Shark Week means Anal Week. So I tried anal with my boyfriend for the first time recently, and we both enjoyed it. I've been having anal whenever he's requested it during sex, but he seems to assume that Shark Week means that that's what he's getting. When I'm on my period, sometimes I don't feel well, emotionally, physically, gastrointestinally, and the last thing I want is something in my ass. He has to have sex, and I told him the other day, since I didn't feel like it and I was on my period, I never turn him down. And he keeps pressing the issue, saying that my period is no problem since he can just fuck me in the ass since I enjoyed it, or I can blow him. I like almost never say no to sex, and so it's not like he's being deprived. I also typically let him do anal whatever he wants. How can I get him to understand that just because there are other holes doesn't mean he's obligated to use or always use them?
So I laughed at the start because I thought you were saying he thought the euphemism Shark Week meant anal.
Ah,
And I was like, that doesn't even make sense. Not laughing that he thought he could, you know, because that's pretty fucked up. I think just blanket statement here: you never have a carte blanche to just have sex with someone, no matter what way it is, ever. There is just no,
yeah,
you know what I mean? Unless you very specifically decide to, as a partner, set out something like that. But even then, it can be revoked at any point.
sure.
Um, so, like, there is no, but wait, I know you already said that, but hold on. Like, no. Secondly, it's like maybe do a little like research on periods, dude, because like, yeah, just because she still has a butthole doesn't mean she's feeling great. Have you heard of period poops? Have you heard of just like massive cramps and like just feeling like shit? Like in general, even if you had a cold, it's not like, oh, you have a cold, I get to fuck you in the ass now. It's like if you're not
Yeah.
feeling well, like sex is generally off the table, for anybody. Um, so like I really hope that it just stems from like pure blind ignorance. But even if it does, it's like there's kind of no excuse to press the issue after you've been given a pretty specific no.
The thing that really upsets me is that she's 23 and he's 33.
Oh God,
So he
yeah,
has a decade of. So, like, if he was 23 and this was sort of like his first, sexual relationship, not that it, he still could be his first sexual
but
relationship.
even then, like 23, I would almost say is too old, and that's what
Um,
I thought you said at the start because it cut
no,
out a
he's
little bit.
33.
Oh,
So I think this is a great time to put to use all the things we just talked about in my last question and have a talk with him and be like, hey, just so you know, it's like you're not obligated or I'm not obligated to have sex with you. And like when it
ever.
comes up, be like, hey, I don't feel well, and that means I don't want to have sex. And it's like I understand that, the vagina is off the table currently, which doesn't even necessarily have to be if you're okay with period sex for both
Hmm.
partners. It doesn't mean that like my ass is, forced open for business.
Yeah.
Um, so I think it's really important to sort of like drive that concept home because like you said, it could just be fucking willful ignorance and like just like playful banter that just kind of misses the mark in the sense of like, hey, do you want to have sex? No, I'm on my period. It's like, well, you got a butthole. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, if he's kind of like jokingly bringing it up in a like half serious way, and you said no, and he was like, "Okay, cool, that would be fine, I guess." Right? Like, once he did
yeah,
it in, like it could be done in a inside joke kind of relationshipy way that's not skeezy. But like the fact that it seems like she said no and he isn't getting the picture, is the main thing. It's like you're never obligated to have sex with him. It doesn't matter if your mouth is fine. Like maybe your tummy feels unwell, but oh, you could still give me a blowjob. It's like, yeah, I could give you a blowjob whenever I want, but like it doesn't mean I do 24/7. Just because I'm on my period doesn't mean I have to go out of my way and do that. If you don't feel like it, you don't feel like it, and that's all that matters.
Yes, it's one of those things where you have to understand that no one wants to have sex if they don't feel good.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like I can't imagine if there was ever a point where my stomach was upset for whatever reason. Maybe I just ate an entire brick of cheese. That's a lot. Like I do not want to have sex after that.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's really important, again, to drive home that point the next time he asks, or if you want to set him down and talk to him right away. But yeah, there needs to be the understanding of like, when you say I'm not in the mood, that doesn't mean that like one specific orifice is not in the mood.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%. Just like let them know, be like, and like, again, try and approach it in a non-aggressive sense, because you're gonna see better results. You know what I mean? Like if you're literally just like, hey, just the other time, like when I said I wasn't feeling well, I was on my period, and you were bringing that up, it's like, I appreciate, obviously I want to have sex with you, I'm sexually attracted to you, but like it's not just that I'm on my period, like it's not just that my vagina's closed off. It's like I'm not feeling well, and it's like when I'm trying to tell you about this and you're ignoring me, like that makes me feel like shit, and I just want to kind of like clear the air and like let you know that it's not that simple. It's not just like, well, vagina's closed down, everywhere else is still open. Like I just might not want to have sex, and that has to be okay, or else this is a really fucked up relationship.
Yep.
So you gotta lay him down. Maybe let him know about period poops. Maybe he won't want to have sex with you then. This is by user KG273. Friends with benefits refuses to go down on me. Says he's saving his tongue for his wife. 27-year-old female.
Oh boy, you think you hear them all? You've been doing this almost 100 episodes, and you think
Oh, I would love to know the point at which things will stop surprising me, and I honestly do not think it'll ever happen.
I don't think so, man. When it comes to like sex,
people are real weird.
Yeah, I mean, because like if you told me before last week that someone thought that boobs leaked milk when women are aroused, I would say you're an idiot. I wouldn't believe it. But there is a man who more or less imploded his relationship over the issue.
He aggressively believes that.
Anyway, tell me about this virgin tongue.
All right. Me, 27-year-old female, is dated a guy, 26-year-old male, for a few days, brought him over for some friends with benefits fun. When we were getting hot and heavy, I gestured down there, and he says he does not do that. He gave me an example of how when someone asks him if he wants to smoke, he doesn't smoke and never has. He says no, and it's a hard no. So when I gestured for him to go down south, he said it was no, and it was a hard no. I asked him why, and he said it's not something he does or ever wants to do, and will only do it for his wife, maybe on her birthday. He then asked for head, and when I said no, he got so offended and asked me if I was a lesbian because no girl has ever refused him head, and I was so keen on asking him to go down there that he was wondering if I preferred girls. It got kind of awkward, and I said I was hungry and that he should go, which he did. He texted me the next day to hang out again, and I want to tell him that without a trip to the lady pond, it's never going to happen. Is this a deal breaker or not?
Why is this even a question?
Because, look, like the sad thing is, a lot of guys are weird about going down on women. So it's like, it's not like it's a wild departure from where it should be, but it's probably not too far of a departure from where a lot of people are at, unfortunately.
But the thing is, like, it's not even just the oral sex thing. Like, that's one thing. If the question was just like, oh, he doesn't want to go down on me. If that was full stop period, he was just like, no, I don't do that. Then okay, great. I can understand maybe the like, should I see him again? But he then told you that it was because he wanted to save his tongue for his wife, and maybe
maybe on her birthday. This guy's generous. It's nice that he's already planning his future wife's birthdays.
So was he saying for his future wife's birthday or for this particular woman's birthday?
No, his future wife's birthday.
Okay. So I mean, like, right off the bat, that's wild as hell.
No, but
Two,
Dane,
he then
he's a very
ref-
he's a very sensitive man. He's planning out his future wife's birthdays already. Like that's a keeper.
yeah. Um, but then when you were like, when he was like, "Oh, give me head," and you're like, "Oh no, thank you." His immediate action is, "Are you a lesbian?" The fuck does that mean?
Yeah, and
Like,
then also
I,
because he was asked to go down on her, that's making him question whether he prefers girls. What? Men have tongues too, bud.
yeah, like literally, she just asked you to.
Yeah. No, he's
Uh,
saying because she
no,
was
no,
so
I
keen.
understand.
Yeah. Oh, you're
Does
saying
he?
the very fact that she was like, "Hey, man, do
Yes,
this thing." Yeah.
yes, man, person, please go down on me. I was like, oh, you must like women then.
Yeah.
What? the, like, but then, like, oh my god, just why would you want to see this again? How is this not a deal breaker? Like,
This
I've
person
been with,
sucks so much.
yeah, like I just don't understand. Like, what do you want out of the next? Like, you okay? You meet up with him again, and he doesn't go. He's not going to go down on you. You know that he's going to ask you to blow him again. You're
Yeah.
probably going to say no. Okay, great. Like, are you just going to do this infinitely?
Yeah, I'm just gonna judge from everything else that this guy also isn't great in bed. Like, I don't know what's telling me that, but I've really put it together, and like maybe it's possible that he is really
My
bad in bed.
my bet is his only move is jackhammering.
Oh yeah,
I bet he just goes as hard and as fast as he can for as long as he can. I bet he finishes. $5 says he also doesn't use condoms.
oh probably they make him feel bad, and
Yeah. Oh, I just don't feel anything.
and he forgets them, and oof, he
Yeah,
doesn't
I
trust the brand
promise
you
you.
have.
Yeah, I like. Of course, this is a red flag.
He's the kind of guy who's gonna take you into the kitchen and do pull-ups while you're waiting on your pizza to arrive in the middle of
I'm,
fucking.
I'm surprised that wasn't the fucking move when she said she was hungry.
Maybe it was. I wouldn't be surprised this is the same guy because the thing is, this is apparently based in San Francisco, and I'm pretty sure the other one was as well.
It's so I've been with like people. So I've been with women where um it's gotten very hot and heavy, and I've gone down on them, and I've completed my task, and then I'd come up and sort of try to initiate the next step, and then I've been told, oh, it's like, oh, I don't really want to have sex tonight. It's like, okay, that's fine, and be like, you know, maybe something my way, and it's like, oh, I don't do that either. It's like, all right, well, that's pretty neat because I was just down there for a considerable amount of time,
Yeah.
and so like I'm just out of luck tonight, and
Yeah,
it's like
if I
that's a
brought a girl
weird
home
play.
and was like, "Yeah, blow me" or whatever, and like obviously it's different for guys because it's like harder to get it back up. You know what I mean? But if I like went home with a girl and was like, "Oh, yeah, blow me," and she did, and I was like, "Well, I don't do that," and also bye, no sex, they'd be like,
Yeah,
"Hey, he's the fucking worst."
like I don't know what the plan is there.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? Like if you're not feeling up to things and there are things you don't do, I don't understand why you would then accept them.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? Like I don't understand guys who are like blow me, but also I don't go down on people.
yeah, that's such a fucking shitty thing to do or say. It's like being like, "Hey, buy me a present." It's like, okay, it's like, sorry, I don't buy presents for people. What?
Yeah, like
You know?
I
Or like,
I
hey, on my birthday, you're gonna, get a restaurant and like get all my friends together and organize everything. And then like it comes to your birthday, it's like, sorry, I don't get involved in my girlfriend's birthdays.
yeah, sorry, I don't celebrate birthdays.
Yeah. This guy fucking sucks. This shouldn't be a question. None of it. Like even just the fact that he's saving his tongue for his wife, wild. Maybe on her birthday, wild. Then immediately asking for head, wild. Getting offended, wild. Calling you a lesbian for this person, no. Just no.
Yeah. I mean like
And you need to tell him. You need to be like, hey, I'm sorry. We're never going to see each other again. Before I go, let me just break it down a little bit. You're a red flag factory. Like you're spewing them everywhere to the point where I almost want to keep seeing you just to see what's next. Like that's the only advice I would give that's kind of contrary to logic is like, please see this person again and just let us know what their next move is going to be. He's playing like chess, but all the pieces are grenades. I don't know. Like, dude's a fucking lunatic.
Yeah, I don't get it, man.
But
It's
don't
just
he doesn't deserve any sex. Not even like the possibility of sex.
yeah. I mean, like, I'd love to know if this guy's just really good looking. Because why would this? Why does this play out?
In my mind, he's horrendously unattractive, but that's just because I'm imagining him and reading all his things. I assume he's at least decently attractive, right?
You know who I'm picturing? I'm picturing the bad guy from Kindergarten Cop.
Okay, I'm gonna go look that up. I assume the bad guy is not a child.
It is not a child, no.
Okay, you know what? That makes sense.
Like, but like him from
From Kindergarten Cop, yeah.
yeah.
That's all I looked up. I looked up Kindergarten Cop bad guy.
Okay,
He
cool.
got arrested actually
Yeah,
for public
apparently
intoxication. He's not looking great these days.
he's like poor man's Val Kilmer.
He really is.
Like
Yes.
he's Walmart Val Kilmer.
Yeah, he's Wish.com's Val Kilmer.
Yeah, and that's exactly what I imagine this guy is. Like I am imagining he is like Wish.com's celebrity. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? Like
Yeah.
maybe like a James Franco. Like a Wish.com's James Franco.
Or like a Wish.com's Zach Morris. I could see that.
Zach Morris, like from Saved by the
For
Bell.
the Bell? Yeah, I don't know. I keep seeing a lot of stuff about him on the internet. Okay. Are we calling it here?
Yeah, do you have any Tinders?
Oh, you know I got Tinders.
All right, let's do some Tinders.
So the first one literally just got sent to us while we were recording, and it is just a picture, so a little bit more difficult for a an audio medium, but it is of a man with a hoodie and a beanie on, sitting, I think, in a restaurant or a big person's house or a big house, not a big
A
person's
big person's
house.
just sitting in a really big chair.
Either a large room in a house or a restaurant. It's kind of unclear. But he's leaning his head back. His eyes are as wide as they could be. He's showing teeth, and in his hand he has quite a large knife.
Oh, good.
And that's it.
That's
And
pretty good.
yeah, they said the knife really adds to the appeal, in my opinion. It's actually kind of horrifying.
Hey, man, he's got to protect himself from those big people.
It's true. It's true. All right, pick a number between 1 and 10.
7.
Seems like this could be an interesting time to date. Crying laughing face. No longer relevant interests include homoerotic recreational sports, karaoke, and live music. Still all about 420, my dog, frolicking outdoors, reading sci-fi / fantasy / memoir / poetry, decadent eats, rad Jewish communities, and queer kink.
Yeah, I got nothing. I'm not sure what homoerotic sports is.
Homoerotic.
Oh, homoerotic.
Yes.
I thought you said homoerotic sports, and I was like, is that just like We Fit but naked?
That sounds great. Yeah, I like that one. It's playful. I like, no longer relevant interests include.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
And hey, anyone who's into karaoke is probably chill.
Okay, pick another number then. That one, I didn't see any red flags. I liked it.
Yeah. I mean,
it's
like,
a green
unless she
flag.
has a picture of, I'm assuming it's a woman, not a woman?
It was a woman, yeah, and she had
Yeah.
2 knives, so they cancel each
Yeah.
other out. So it's
Cool.
She didn't have any knives.
Hit me with a 3.
Ooh, 3's big. Okay, you ready?
Yes.
I'm not average.
Okay.
I'm creative and impulsive. I'm dedicated and hardworking. I want to make things different somehow for the future. If you do not meet the following criteria, do not message. I hope
boy.
hope to save your time. I am a lovely person. I'm just picky. And do not is in all caps. Must not be religious. Religion separates us all and is way more of an issue than racism in my eyes. Beliefs are another story. As I was raised Jewish, there are beliefs and customs I agree with, but I'm an atheist. Must be Caucasian.
Okay.
Must have a job. Truthfully, I don't care what it is. But you must wake up before 9 a.m. and want to do something. Must love animals. Must drive. No criminal, legal, or other background that will haunt you, because I will find it. Must live in Toronto. No Brampton. No Scarborough. No Mississauga. Oh, I live in Midtown. I'm looking for someone who lives close by as I'm working 24/7.
What?
this is this one's terrible.
I love how he starts with like religion
Oh, this is a
divides
girl.
us. Like
Sorry, this is a girl.
it's oh wow.
Yeah, yeah. This is 29-year-old Joey.
Uh-huh. Yeah, it's like, oh, religion divides us. It's worse than racism. You have to be white.
Right?
Okay. All right. Well, now I know why racism doesn't bother you.
Yeah. Oh my god. Also, it's just like no other background info that will haunt you because I will find it.
I'll find it.
That's
Is that also what is she doing 24/7 that's working?
apparently she's a PI and she will find out all your dirty background info.
Yeah. Jesus.
Yeah.
See, I would be worried that there is something in my past that even I don't know about.
Hey, you know what? Maybe like she could provide a nice service because it's like you date her for a week, and if nothing happens, you're like, oh, phew, I'm clean.
Hey, did you know your dad had an affair?
Did you know you're the chosen one?
9 months before you were born, and you're probably not your mother's. Wait, no, that doesn't make any sense.
You're not your
That's not how that works.
Oh,
Well,
and
thank
no
you very
one
much for
knew.
listening.
Somebody snuck a different baby into your mom.
Yeah. Or maybe it's like a Ned Stark, Jon Snow situation. You know, my dad came home with a mysterious baby.
Yeah, and your mother claimed you as her own. To be
Yeah.
fair, she really likes clowns. You don't. I hear that's hereditary.
What? I have nothing against clowns.
You don't like oh, you like clowns?
No, I'm not scared of clowns. Like everyone's like, oh, clowns are so scary. It's like
Yeah, but
I
you
was
like them.
I have no feelings one way or the other
Yeah,
against
but
clowns.
guess what the opposite of really liking them is? Just nothing.
I'm
It's just
numb.
nothing.
I'm
Exactly.
numb to
You're
clowns.
numb to clowns. That's the opposite of really liking them. All right, do you
I
want one
guess.
more?
Sure.
I've got a few lined up here. 5. Okay. Starts off great. X, like big red X emoji. I'm expensive, baby.
Oh,
Big red
boy.
X emoji again. Looking to network. Boss lady looking for some boss ass ladies to kick it with. Cat. 420 friendly. 3 fart emojis. I could probably move my waistline better than your ex. Shrugging emoji, crying emoji, salsa emoji.
Okay. I mean, nothing like
This was also sent to a guy.
it seems to me she's into women.
Right? You would imagine that.
I don't.
So I
mean,
don't know
like,
if she's on like women and man, but even then, it's like, why are you just saying boss lady looking for some boss ass ladies?
yeah, maybe she's just looking for like lady friends, but also looking for male
I
romance.
guess maybe. I don't know.
I don't know. Again, like it's all fucking bravado. I don't like the I'm expensive is the only real red flag for me.
That's a wild. Honestly, I feel like people who describe themselves as boss ass people are generally not boss ass people. Because I think if you're a boss ass person, it speaks for itself.
Yeah, it's
You know?
usually
No one's going around
you're
being like,
just
"I'm
making a lot of
confident.
noise.
I'm confident. I'm confident." And
Hey, have you seen how confident I am?
yeah. Hey, I'm attractive. Hello. Yeah, I'm expensive is a horrendous opener and a terrible red flag, in my opinion.
Yeah, I don't want it. I think that's going to do us.
Hell yeah.
Thank you very much for listening. We are closing in on episode 100, and we still don't have any idea what we're going to do. So if you, I don't know, want to send us something fun to do on episode 100, please let us know. If you have a question that you would like us to answer on the podcast, you can hit us up at on Facebook at facebook.com/FCK Buddies Podcast. You can find us on Twitter at FCK_Buddies. You can hit us up on Gmail at fbuddiespodcast@gmail.com, or you can visit us online at fbuddiespodcast.com or plentyofbeef.ca.
Hell yeah. Thank you, Josh Eagle and the Harvest Cities for their song Paper Stars. Thank you, everybody who submitted all the Tinders because they're excellent.
Thank you, and I'm sorry that this is happening to you. Do you have some bad sex already?
Yeah. And this is going to be a quick one.
Okay.
All right. Linda, his 14-year-old daughter, was just going out the door in a flick of skirt and a flip of her ponytail, tied this morning with a sexy velvet ribbon. Why would you think about your daughter that way, who's also 14?
Also, the sexy velvet ribbon.
That's a weird thing, to be sexied.
Well, stop sexualizing ribbons.
You got some Pornhub comments?
Oh, you better believe I do. And this one, I'm only going to read half of it because the other half isn't great. But this comes from France Thomas. And he says, place your order now with top, high, pure cocaine, buds, carts, pills, and guns available now.
Ooh.
Thank you very much for listening. My name is Dave Miller.
And I'm now Spain.
And we have been your fuck buddies.
Have a good one.